Hey everyone, Thomas1880 doing another Hero Factory Breakout review. This time one of the villain leaders is responsible for the escape, the Black Phantom. This time, unlike all the other sets that they were in the plastic packets, this time we have a cardboard box. In the picture of the Black Phantom in the assembly tower, we can see Raka aiming his crossbow, and Lego Hero Factory Black Phantom doing his pose, aiming his Arachnex blaster there. His name Black Phantom, 500 plus game points. On HeroFactory.com, 9 to 16-year-olds, product number 6203. And the side has Lego Hero Factory, Black Phantom's head. The side is here with Black Phantom's pose and Phantasma, Nergal, Barcode, and a 3-year-old Sploud. Another bunch of it. The back has Black Phantom looking at his left direction, and shows the function of aiming his Arachnex blaster, and it says you can take the Arachnex thing away from his left arm, and the idea you could put down the bottom part of his staff there, and shows Black Phantom breaking out of the cell, and it says use the code to get 500 game points, and shows the Hero Factory games to play with, and it has each section showing each hero fighting their own villains. It's one you can see Raka fighting Black Phantom, Inferno fighting Jawblade, Surge fighting Splitface, Evo fighting Toxic Reaper, and Breeze fighting Thornrax. Let's open this up. Okay, we got the parts out. First, I'll take a look at the instructions. We have the front with Black Phantom, and this time it's a box of Black Phantom, the game information, and assembling the parts. After building, you get the idea you can build Raka with Black Phantom. And the idea you can combine Raka and Black Phantom to become a giant. I might not build that because it'll take me a while to say for instructions how to build that. And an appetite for DC superheroes with the Joker, Batman, and Green Lantern. One thing with the only unanimous DC heroes is basically the Batman series. The Joker and Batman are from one series, Green Lantern is his own. You can also and one thing I've learned is that the Marvel superheroes are going to be released in summer. Kind of an odd thing there. And Lego Club, and this, which we saw in 2010, obviously. These tubes I recognize from Meltdown, but they're used for Black Phantom's shoulder things. We have a longer tooth that we have a Firelord. Let's open the smaller part, see what we know. Okay. We have some of the parts I haven't seen so far is these stick-like things. I think they're used for Black Phantom's staff. And we have the closet spikes we were introduced from the Jungle Adventure series, and same for these paddings. Never had those before. It's because the ones I've bought hasn't. So far, the ones I've bought hasn't got. Of course, the Quasicore, Black Phantom doesn't wear that. The claw we had on Raka. And the green color filled in green Baraki eyes that we had with that we're going to put into our Arachnex. And that's pretty much that because the rest is just the old ball joint socket remold in 2011, the Horde DK neck, the 2.0 skeleton bones, the Horde the 2009 neck, and the now for the big part. And now for the big part. Let's see, we have the Arachnex face there, and Black Phantom's mask, which this time it doesn't have a plus pin, which this time it doesn't have a plus thing coming up there, so that means you have to attach a plus pin. So that's something I haven't noticed. Originally I thought it does have an actual plus pin like most 2009 masks do, but actually just like Maxwell's, you have to put something in there. Of course, the 2011 hands, the Tometru upper leg pads in 2011 mold design. Those big spike things that go for Black Phantom's staff, that's it, and the other one is somewhere. Here we are. Two of them you put together as a single staff. And some of these parts, which will also be found in Breeze and the DC heroes, this is kind of like saber. It's kind of like this green colored saber on one end, and it's kind of like a saw in the other. Another one of these built-in green 2009 has Beyond Rock and Split Face. The kind of trans lime green in 2.0 paddings we have here. And other new parts I'm trying to look for. This part. No one has ever seen this before, but we have it in Black Phantom. I think it's another way of attaching another way of attaching ball joint connections when it comes to building. And this padding I don't think any of the 2011 Hero Factories have, is this padding that goes in the Black Phantom. And I think that's about it. So that's all the parts we have. Of course there won't be a speed build, because of course I will take forever on this. So let's just skip to the part where it's already built. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, and here's the villain responsible for setting every villains free from prison, the Black Phantom. I'm going to be honest about building. There's nothing much to say about building, except it felt kind of fast. That's because there are less of the Technic part builds, and meaning it'll take an expensive vehicle to take long for building. And that's that much I know of since I built vehicles. But when it comes to 2.0 flexibility builds, given into big guys like this, that only cost around 15 quid, like Firelord and stuff, it's going to be a bit fast on building. The fact you have to rely on ball joint attachments and newer sort of building attachments combined with less Technic build. And the building idea when you put the mask on is like when you take this off for a second. The building says you have to attach a plus into the top of the head first, then put the head in. Which unlike most sets that there's masks where you have to put a plus pin into the mask first, then place it in the Metro Nui head, you have to put the plus pin into the 2009 head and then put the head in, put the face into the side in. But I still put the plus into the mask because I found it better that way to do it. So that way it doesn't look like any plus pin sticking out of his head in a sort. And second of all, which I didn't know about it until I do now, is that the red is just a random color sticking out of the green. In playability, I don't see why these little sharp things come out of his shoulders if they're supposed to spray like dangerous chemical liquid. Because the fact you have tubes there and these things kind of look like the thing of a gun and that bullet comes out. But I do know about this because he spreads his arachnid. But I do know about this. The arachnids crawls out of him and they multiply from one to too many to attack the heroes. Kind of like those scarabs in the Mummy films, if you remember that. But the only thing different compared to the cartoon, compared to the Hero Factory film, which they might release later, but this set, which I don't think it does. But if not, then maybe I may be wrong. But what this set does is it has a blast you can shoot, and we have it like that. He has this staff, which looks like he could. He has a staff which looks like he could wham someone's head with it, or kill them. In fact, it's more spiky. I remember staffs like these in like Hawkgirl from Justice League, or everyone else who has those things. Not to mention Thor, the Marvel hero. Oh. So I think it's called a Razor Saber. I'll look into that. See if I'm right or wrong. The building on the legs is kind of like Firelord. Was an added feature. Was something different about it. When I hit the light, here we are. Okay, we had to attach these 3.0 paddings here. We had to attach this kind of T-shaped Technic pad into the legs rather than having a horizontal piece that we had in Firelord. And the back view, like most times, you have to put the Tomater upper leg paddings into the back to put balance on the legs. And the thing I was wondering is that why would the thing that's holding the tubes? I was like, what's that doing? What's that supposed to be part of? It's supposed to be part of putting the tubes into it, so it's carrying the tubes on the other end. The head, it kind of reminds me of Vezark a little bit because the fact the bump is showing up at the mouth. The bump right here, bumping up of the whole mouth, the whole open mouth, kind of looks like Vezark. And he kind of and not to mention he resembles Vezon a little bit, as if Hero Factory is filled with complete maniacs, as if who are the main villains of the series. Not to do comparison. Here's a comparison between Black Phantom and Von Nebula. As you can see, he's still shorter. That's because one, he has his neck attachment is only on this end instead of being over the top to make sure it resembles like human, and the whole torso is not as tall enough. Of course, it's hard to see. These parts were taken off because I had to replace them for the broken limbs on other sets I've got. Comparison between these two villains. It is said that both voiced by Mark Hamill. So, the thing that's different, the only thing we know is that Von Nebula here was originally a rookie hero until he betrayed Hero Factory because he wants to destroy Stormer. This guy, he broke out of prison and is on a rampage, feeding into power in the Hero Factory Corporation. According to those clips you saw, if you watch those Hero Factory commercials and the Hero Factory film. Next, we look at the beginning of 2011's villain, the Firelord, the one who grew ambition to feeding to fuel. Well, as you can see, he's almost the same height, but he seems a bit taller than Black Phantom because I think, yeah, he is a bit taller. That's because he had more parts put into it. I think it's because of the fact that his head is a bit bigger and Black Phantom's head's a bit smaller. And of course I've heard Lego Janks complain about the random orange showing out of... Of course I've seen Lego Janks complain about the random orange coming out of there. Well, Lego was the one who came up with the color concepts to think it's good enough. There are kids who judge the idea about color. So that's one thing That's one thing I would like to inform Lego Jang if he's seen this video. Whereas of course Black Phantom, he still has the crimson red pull all over him, padded with some black. And of course I've heard Lego Mission complain with that about the 2011 is that just like the 2009 vehicles, you had one face on one end, Firelord here, and then the other end you have a drill dozer head in the other. But I don't know how it counts saving plastic or saving money. But I know it's I know to him it's a complete because how do you expect which one's the real face of them then? And during a one piece if it wasn't placed into any character. But this guy he only has one end of the face. So that's nothing to worry about. Next we could compare him to one of the largest guys, like doesn't cost 15 quid, but cost me 27 or 26 or 5 quid, or 26 or 25. I've named him the Witch Doctor. Wondering where the Ben 10 parts are, I took them off because I know how much people are pissed off about the Ben 10 placed into any Hero Factory sets. It's because I've seen one of the reviews of LegoMation Studios. I heard him complain about Ben 10. He blamed it for being He blamed it for being the next buildable set similar to Bionicle, even though the next buildable sets were actually them. So I had to take them off. So I had to replace it with the red tubes that came with the actual set. The fact I had 2 white tubes and 2 red tubes, so I had to put the red tubes there. And wondering where his weapon was, I took it off because I needed to make it look like Witch Doctor does have an actual hand set-wise. The fact that he only had a weapon, and in fact they didn't give him spare hand. The thing about Hero Factory is that they never give these guys spare hands, unlike the first series. Unlike the first Hero Factory series, they never give them both. They never give some of the characters spare hand, two hands, and so you can replace it at any time for building. Whereas some of the stuff like this guy, you do have 2 hands. As you can see, it's a comparison. Witch Doctor's more taller because he had more of the build on the legs, the torso, which took me a while to find out which one's right to put him in. And this guy feeds into Quasar, one of President Stormer's professors. The United States says it costs $20, according to conversion of 15 quid. So if you want to you American fans watching this, if you want to buy this, go ahead. If you're a fan of Hero Factory, you can go and get these. It's for your Ultimate Breakout collection, to get villains who will responsible breakout and have fun and trying to get Rocket to stop this villain. And here's the core for 300 game points. Means you get to play online. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Tarmat1888, and expect more videos to come. And you can expect more videos of animation and entertainment to come. Tarmat1888 signing off.